Bad actors, particularly hackers, can take out power grids. Optimize was the only one who came out here. The guy was pulling off outlets here and there and undoing wires barehanded, pretty impressive. And it was a little bit more trouble, but they got it done. They didn't back down. Well, because of hurricanes mainly. I've been without power for 2 weeks in a hurricane or after a hurricane when I lived in Texas. And I actually had a generator installed, a whole house generator installed after that, Hurricane Ike. And actually Rita, we had an outage too. And lo and behold, after I had my generators installed, we never got hit by a hurricane again. So one thing, this is hurricane protection. You're a lot less likely to get hit by one if you have a generator. If you do though, if you're out for a sustained amount of time, it's good to have backup. And it's so seamless. So I had a Generac in Texas, and when the power goes out, it's so seamless you hardly notice that the power even went out. Beyond that, we live in a highly technical world where bad actors, particularly hackers, can take out power grids. If we ever had a situation like that, I'd like to know that I've got backup in that case too. So I'd say those are the two main reasons I wanted a generator. Well, Optimize had some really good reviews when I looked online, and actually Optimize was one of 3 installers that I spoke to. And Optimize, out of the 3, I got quotes from all 3, and out of the 3, Optimize was the only one who came out here and spent a couple hours physically looking at my layout and answering questions. Particularly in my case, I was trying to decide whether to go gas or diesel. Unfortunately, in this neighborhood, we don't have natural gas. So I would have had to have a tank buried in the yard and a long line run natural gas or propane rather. So because I've got a diesel truck, I've got a diesel tractor, I elected to go with a diesel generator, and not the least of which it has the fuel tank on bottom. So I've got flood protection going on there to protect my generators just by the nature of having this stand that holds diesel. So Optimize Cullen was very, very helpful at Optimize. He helped me go through all the different brochures with propane, with diesel, looked at cost. I probably looked at 4 generators and studied those. We swapped emails for a while. Cullen came back out and we talked about it. Meanwhile, the other 2 companies that I asked for quotes, nobody showed up. Okay, number one, nobody came out here. They gave me quotes over the phone, which was substantially higher than Optimized quotes. So I decided, just from a comfort level, after visiting with Cullen, I decided to go with Optimize and get the best deal. Unfortunately, in my case, I had some really electrical hogs of air conditioners at the time, so I went with this 48 kW. You would know it, a month later, 2 air conditioners go out. So where it used to cost me 250 amps to crank these 2 air conditioners, now it only takes 85 with these new ACs, so could have got along with a little smaller generator. But if I ever need to power the neighbor and run a cord over there, I think we're good. Living in South Louisiana, summertime, you lose power, you can't live in that house. It's too hot. Wintertime, we found out just recently at 4 degrees and 11 inches of snow, it'd be hard to live in that house without power. So had we had a power outage rather, during either the summer or the winter, it's a secure feeling to know that you can power this. I can power this entire house. Not only that, I can power this barn out back. I've got a 100 amp line running out to the pasture to the barn. I could even have somebody out there in a camper trailer too if I needed to help somebody. And I do want to mention that when this thing was installed, the Optimize guys had to deal with the 100 amp line, the number 2 copper, I think it is. And it was a little bit more trouble getting it installed, but they got it done. They didn't back down. I think the customer service can be summed up in one incident. This generator and all the electrical was installed one day. I think it was that afternoon, my refrigerator on the other end of the house quit working, had no power. It would be obvious to me that with all this work done on this end of the house, that's where the problem was. So I called out, I called Optimize. Roman came out and troubleshot for a better part of a day. Couldn't find anything. The next day, he brought Craig, one of the co-owners of Optimize. I hadn't met him, but really had a good visit while he was working, and he troubleshot from one end of the house to the other. He's a certified electrician. The guy was pulling off outlets here and there and undoing wires barehanded. Pretty impressive show, but he couldn't find anything that was wrong. And I think we're about all ready to give up when he asked what was inside of a cabinet in the kitchen. And when I pulled my belongings out of that cabinet, there was an outlet back there. And lo and behold, when he pulled the cover of the outlet off, rather than having a wire wrapped around a screw, this wire was sitting beside the screw, sometimes making contact and sometimes not. So if you know what the word serendipity means, you're looking for one thing and you found something else. I got a free electrical job done at the other end of the house just by having a generator installed on this end of the house. Secure. I feel secure. I feel good in whatever weather conditions, whether it's storms, hurricanes, hacking of grid systems, whatever. I know that I've got a lot of family in this area. I know that if there is a sustained outage in particular, I can have all my family gather up here, and we've got refrigerators and freezers that are working, washing machines and dryers that are working. We've got lights and we've got comfort, and that gives me security, knowing I can take care of my family. If I were to be asked by a neighbor or someone in family in town, in fact, I'll back up and say this. That Optimize installed a generator for my sister and brother-in-law in Lafayette, and which is how I heard about Optimize originally. And if someone were to ask me where to go to get a generator, to get it really decision on about what kind, what size, and to have it professionally installed and with customer service follow-up, I would tell them to call Optimize.